is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, planet, 7.3 billion people, one planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
All right, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, changing, transformative, healing planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. How are you this Monday morning? I hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me live here in the on the Intuitive Prospector page. Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button if you want to get notifications. Just turn your notifications on so you can get notifications when I'm live here on Facebook or over on my Instagram channel or over on my YouTube channel and now over on TikTok. So I'm having a lot of fun with TikTok. So good morning to all of you, wherever you may be in this world, or good afternoon or good evening, because we have people from all around the planet that tune into this 30-minute inspirational show for encouragement, motivations, thinking outside the box. Maybe it's just something you needed to hear and the timing was right, where you actually see me come up on Facebook and you feel compelled to join me for the 30 minutes where we have a cup of coffee. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your protein shake. let's move into the magic of the moment. I'm here in Seattle, Washington. If you want to learn more about the work that I do as a psychic, as a medium, as an author, as an intuitive coach, as a life coach, as a counselor, you can go to marclainhart.com or just internet search the Intuitive Prospector. And make sure to go to my site. I spent the last few days redesigning my entire website. I've added some new features, including Insight Timer, where I'm teaching over on Insight Timer. So if you want free meditations, my latest meditation Pathways to Self-Healing is out. My latest articles, whether it's West Side Seattle blog or Ariel or Om Times community. So I've redesigned my entire website. So I hope that you'll check that over at marclainhart.com. And this morning, we're going to be talking about team, because we seem to be a country, or we seem to be a species that's very divided. Two different polarities I've noticed over this last year. And I was, when I sat on my meditation mat back here, which is now replaced with Grogu, for those of you that are Star Wars nerds like myself, or the Mandalorian series, awesome series, by the way. That's Grogu, and that's a droid that I actually built at Disney World, and his name is M272. So year I was born and the first initial of my name. So, but I did create him. But when I was sitting on my meditation mat this morning, I was actually going to talk about evolving higher, like higher evolution, if you will, because there's an old saying that says evolve higher, so people have to get to re-know who you are. And as I was getting ready to come on this morning, I was like, well, I feel more compelled to talk about team. And teamwork goes a long way. And we need, as a country, as a species, to work in an ecosystem with our planet and nature. Nature is very powerful, guys, and we need to realize that all of us are impacted by this global pandemic that was created by nature, and the cure is going to come from nature. Now, yes, it's going to take vaccines and social distancing and herd immunity and in time, but at the same time, it's a reminder that there's an equilibrium, if you will, of balance, and when we fall out of balance, bad things happen. And this morning, I want to talk about team. It's something that I learned early on in my high school. I played varsity sports in high school and then later in college. And I learned about the power of teamwork, if you will. And what is on my arm? I got a little fuzzy. I was like, I see something on my arm. So I want to talk about together, everyone achieves more. That's the acronym that I have long lived by. Together, everyone achieves more. But we seem to be in this network of different ideologies, and it's either my way or the highway, or zero-sum game, or if you follow politics. I'm not politically affiliated. I'm a moderate constitutionalist, but I watch both sides of the debate, from the Democrats to the Republicans. And boy, they're definitely not working together. It seems to be like they're trying, but there's just so much rhetoric and so much ideology and hate around it. It's just, I wanted to remind people that whether it's politics or within life, or whether your career or your relationships, it has to be teamwork, you guys, because you have to find things that we can agree upon. And we usually find that we're in agreement we have more things alike than we do apart. And that one thing can, drive people apart. But together, and it's a prediction that I talked about last year when I did my prediction show on Inspired Living Radio, was the great coming together. And when I did that prediction, I was like, oh, crap, that means that we're going to have to go through some pretty evolutionary stuff and transformative stuff in order to have this great coming together, which means people have really pulled apart if it's this great coming together. So the prediction that I did was the great coming together, and I still forecast that. I still see that. We still have some trying times ahead of us, but it was just a reminder, and I've got to remind myself. I do these shows because a lot of times I'm sharing my perspective. And again, perspective is just the ability to see be in somebody else's shoes, if you will, right? That's perspective. And the art of spiritualism is the ability to shift your perspective. So there was a quote that I was going to read you guys. And bear with me, I'm a little late this morning because it is Mercury retrograde, so technology's always impacted. But there's a quote from Amy Poehler, if you know her from the days of Saturday Night Live. She said, "Find a group of people who challenge and inspire you, and spend a lot of time with them, and it will change your life forever." And I firmly believe that. That's part of teamwork. Henry Ford talked about, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. And I really believe that. And I believe that if we, if we want to move forward, we have to do it together. We have to come to a common ground with everything that's going on, from the pandemic to wearing a mask, to political ideologies. A lot of you know where I stand in where it comes to, supporting a certain person in that evil fascist type of rhetoric. I don't condone that. Anybody that thinks that they're better than somebody, racism, systemic racism, I don't support that. So if that's the case, please don't follow my work, because I don't condone that. We can always have agreements. We can always agree to disagree. But if you can't have a conversation with somebody that can, maybe the first thing you say to them is, can you see from a different perspective? Because if a person is set in their ways, it's really hard to have a conversation with somebody that just is not willing to see a different perspective. So before you argue with somebody, ask yourself, is that person even mentally mature and emotional intelligence to grasp the concept of different perspectives? Because if not, there's really no point in doing that. And I'm seeing a lot in society about, truth and false truths. That's dangerous, you guys. It's really dangerous, because you got to be able to agree upon the facts, truth, science, facts. And if there's a alternative conspiracy type of belief, that is really dangerous for a society, for a democracy. And so this morning I wanted just to talk about, teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. And so I hope that this week you'll work on a little bit of your own teamwork. Maybe there's somebody, a family member or a friend that you've had a squabble with. I know I have over this last year. But I go back to what Walt Disney said: the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And so I'm going to try this week. I'm going to try this month. Happy February. It's February already. I can't believe that. To really just, work on my teamwork, my philosophy, my ideology. Now, again, people are going to have their own opinions. That's fine. But there can also be mutual respect. There is a difference between arguing with a person and debating with a person. I hope to see in this great coming together as we move forward that people start to have civil debates, because you got to be able to share your perspectives, not I'm right, you're wrong, or if you don't believe what I believe, then you're going to hell. I remember when I started early on in my early childhood with religion, that was actually taught to me, that if you didn't believe in this certain way, that you were going to go to hell, because Jesus was the only way. JC is a great guy. JC is an amazing psychic medium and healer, no doubt about it, but he's one in history of many people. In spiritualism, you look at a broader perspective of where you're raised in the world and how to get to that next level of consciousness. Some call it heaven, some call it the afterlife, some call it the etheric plane. But it's all about what you do here on this planet. Suffering prepares you for the afterlife, if you look at that in that format. But this morning, this week, I do these shows. I've been doing these shows for about 3 years now. So again, if you're not on the or you don't have your top fan badge, please make sure to do that, because I come on here every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, do a 30-minute show, and then it's followed by the Healing Cafe, where I do Q&A, spiritual chats, lectures, philosophy, mediumship, psychic, live readings, where you can come into the Zoom room if I'm feeling compelled. And I'm going to be working, I think, with crystals in the Healing Cafe this morning, giving you a crystal for the month. And it's just like a spiritual box of chocolates. Until I get in the Healing Cafe, I don't know exactly. There's no script or planning. How about that? But for this show, I wanted just to share with you about the importance of teamwork. And, just wherever you're at in this pandemic, it's going to continue on for a while. I said I forecasted around May or June, we'll start to feel and actually see a difference in what's going on in society with the vaccinations. The scary thing, though, is, half the population doesn't believe in vaccination. So that's concerning, because again, I just always follow the science, and the only thing that refutes science is better science, not a politician's opinion, not what you watched on YouTube. And I follow a lot of the data as a healthcare provider myself here in Seattle. And the vaccination also helps the virus for not a place to go. So once it doesn't have a place to go, it actually disappears. And if you go back to our history and you learn from our history, I always say, be a student of history, because you'll see that there is a rhyme and a rhythm and a flow to what has happened back 100 years ago during the great influenza flu of 1918. After 2 years of isolation, it went away. It did. It just floated and disappeared because it really worked itself out. Now, it killed millions and millions of people, but at the same time, we don't want to go that route because we have better science, we have better data. But a lot of it's been politicized, and that's really sad because there's going to be soon to be over 500,000 Americans that have passed into spirit. I'm not sure what the numbers are today because I haven't checked them, but I know it's in the millions worldwide. And so I just want to give, if you're impacted by this pandemic, if you're in isolation, if you're locked down, if you've lost a family member, a friend, a colleague, I just want to, say that we're holding space, we're thinking about you. It's sad. I watched 60 Minutes last night, and they talked about, the ramifications of this ripple effect that will go on after this pandemic is over for people that have lost loved ones. Just heartbreaking stories. And I've done a few readings already where I've connected people that have transferred over into the spirit world or the afterlife, but didn't get a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones, or had to say goodbye through FaceTime or through technology. And that's just, no one should ever pass alone. And so it's been very heartbreaking. It's been very transformative for me in the work that I do as a medium, as a spiritualist, to understand why this is taking place. But it will pass. It will get better. But it's about team. It comes back to this team philosophy. Together, everyone achieves more. And if we start working together, we can get past this pandemic a lot sooner. And again, belief systems matter, leadership matters. A lot of this did not have to go down this road, but we're here now. We can't change that. And now we have to figure out how to get ourselves out of this. And I believe that if we do work together, we can do that. And again, it's teamwork. Many hands make easy work, as the saying goes. And maybe this is the lesson we needed to learn from, just the divide on social media, what you watch on television, the programming, your own belief systems. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I always, remind people to watch for what we call cognitive dissonance, which is, a form of gaslighting. So if you don't know those terms, look at, misinformation, look at what you're taking in, garbage out kind of thing. But also, there's a lot of false information and knowledge, and that's very dangerous for society when you have that breakdown. So I believe we can overcome that. I believe if we can have some sort of regulations around the news cycle, because FCC only covers local news, not cable news, and some sort of social media, which I call the Internet 2.0, re-internet version of what information goes on the internet actually has to be factual, has to be truthful. If it's not, it's flagged. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing, independent fact checkers checking, saying that this post, and I've done it myself. I've shared information that is not actually all the way factual. There's some misleading things in there, and it's easy to do. But I think as we move ahead, part of our teamwork is also being mindful of what we're promoting and what we're sharing. I put myself in that same category. Like I said, I'm speaking on my behalf and my perspective, no judgment or opinion of anybody else. But I believe if we can clean up and have, bring back the doctrine, the doctrine that went away in, I believe, 1984 or 1987 during the Reagan administration about what is presented on television, I think that would have a ripple effect of how we connect as people on what is actual truth and telling the truth, especially social media, because social media, if it continues down this path, I see bad things happening for society if we're not going to address and clean up all the misinformation and gaslighting that's going on, the cognitive dissonance that's going on. Very scary stuff. And I believe in us. So, and I believe if we come to teamwork and we believe in one another and we believe as we the people, and that nobody is better, all men and women are created equal under the eyes of God, whatever God is for you, or Jesus. Jesus talked about that, love thy neighbor and the golden rule, and treat, others as you want to be treated in scripture. That's powerful stuff, but I don't think that we're abiding by that in many pockets of society, depending on where you're at, especially here in the United States. So let's move away from this undivide. Let's come together. Let's find common ground. Let's find things that we can agree upon. Washington D.C., the politicians there, they're gonna, if they don't figure it out, they're all gonna implode. So, and that's dangerous for democracy and your way of life. And some people don't agree with what I say, and when I stand up for the Constitution, when I stand up for democracy. But just remember, if you go from history past, when Hitler came to power, there was a third of the country that supported it. There was a third of the country that didn't say anything to it, and there was a third of the country that stood up against it. And that's how you lose your freedoms. And I love being a spiritualist and doing my work as a medium. That's not something that was always done in a free and fair society years ago, even as far back as the 50s. So, and I have a third degree of separation from the history of Nazism in Hitler and the SS, with my aunt on my aunt's side of the family, who is from Germany. So there's a lot of things I know and see coming if we don't change our course correction, if you will. We're navigating down a very transformative and scary road if we don't start to come together. So today's message is team. Together, everyone achieves more. And if we don't, then the alternatives will be the opposite of peace. It will be the opposite of love. I don't like to promote fear. I'm not a fear monger, but as a seer, I did talk about this coup that took place on the Capitol. I did talk about a form of civil war. I talked about, you can go back to my podcast from a year ago, my predictions that I did for this year and what I see coming up for this year, to hold me accountable. Do I get everything right? No, but it's more of a forecasting of what I see happening if we don't change our behaviors. And part of the reason I do these shows is to put those words out there and that ripple effect to get people to start thinking and plant seeds. I can't make you listen to what I'm saying, but I can, plant seeds of positivity and use my social media platforms for platforms of positivity versus, dividing and negative. And not everybody's going to agree. So let's work on team this week. Let's work on together. Everyone achieves more. Let's find common ground with people. If you're on one side of the political party, try to find common ground with the other person. If they'll even talk to you. And if not, then, find team with the right people that will make your life better and enrich your life. So with that, again, thanks for hanging out with me here in Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. I just want to send a healing vibration to everybody that's impacted by COVID, to our healthcare heroes, everybody on the front lines, our railroad workers, our truck drivers, our grocery workers, our delivery workers, our mail carriers, everybody that's out there who's getting vaccinated, thank God, but putting their life at risk to make sure that we survive as a society. So everybody just take a nice deep breath. This is my Tibetan singing bowl from Tibet. It's the sound or the frequency of Om. And just let this week be a week of inspiration, encouragement, knowledge, peace, wisdom, healing, transformation, awakening. How can you pay it forward in what you do in your world? The change begins with you. When you want to see the change ripple out into the world. And just thanks for hanging out with me here in the Metaphysical Mocha Mondays as we get ready for the Healing Cafe. Isn't that nice? So take a nice deep breath with me. Breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. If you don't have a meditation practice, this is a great time during a pandemic to work on mindfulness and awareness and meditations and breath work. There's an old saying that the body requires a lot of movement. So get your chi moving, get your body moving, but then the mind requires a lot of stillness. So remember to silence your mind, because not all your thoughts are true in your head. And so this week, I want to give you your numerology number for the week as we get ready for the Healing Cafe. Make sure to, if you tune into the Healing Cafe, make sure to read the directions on how that works. We had a troller last week, so I apologize for that. Hopefully the team will be monitoring that so we don't get trollers, no clickbaiting. We don't ask for free readings. There is a donation button if you like the work I'm doing. I do this for free. It's my form of giving back, tithing, if you will. A way to pay it forward, but there is a link for donations if you want to donate to the cause, or if you want to join my Patreon new group. It's a membership. Become a patron of the, join the patron community. Just go to my website and you'll see the links there, or the link in the description field here. Is a great way to really have more one-on-one time with me and get some really cool stuff and some spiritual swag. So the card I picked for today is health. It's the number 7, which is seeking and finding truth, and the 1, which is building and working in independence, and together that adds up to the number 8, which is the infinity number, which is about manifestation in business and money. So use your health as your wealth, because again, we all work so hard. The Dalai Lama talked about this. We work all our lives to buy all this stuff, and at the end of our life, we have really bad health because we worked and had stress, and then we have to pay for our health care to pay for our health. So, try to be healthy this week. Try to work on that team format together. Everyone achieves more. Your crystal for the week, for the month of February, because it is February 1st, I wanted to give you a stone related to the month. So these are some really good stones to use for the month, and especially during retrograde, which ends, I believe, February 20th or 21st. We have about 20 days of retrograde. So for the month of January 20th through February 18th is the Aquarius. So you can use aquamarine, amethyst, amber, angelite, blue celestite, blue obsidian, the baji stone, fluorite, labradorite, magnetite, moonstone, atasamite, or atasamite, not sure. Sometimes I don't know how to pronounce these. But the one that really stood out to me is the moonstone. I love the moonstone. I have a moonstone right here on my desk. And when I bought it, it was clear like this when I bought it. And over time, as I've sat here and done thousands of readings and shows and podcasts, it looks like a person has come in and taken a shape, the shoulders and the heart. But this is called a peach moonstone. So I really like moonstone. And then I'm wearing a bloodstone today, and then blue lace agate here. So stones are really interesting. They're very transformative. They're amplifiers. They're healers. They can really tune into your vibration. So, get the crystal that feels right for you this week. I recommend the moonstone. That's what I'm going to have around me. And thanks for tuning into today's show. If you didn't catch my podcast on Wednesday, I did have Don Miguel Ruiz on, and we talked about his new book, The Actor, and he's agreed to come back for 3 more shows as his books are released over the next 6 months. If you don't know who he is, it's one of the first spiritual books I ever read was The Four Agreements, along with The Alchemist, The Untethered Soul, and The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And then years later, almost 12, 13 years later, I'm actually interviewing Don on my show. And it was a great show. He was very kind and agreed to come back for more shows. So I hope that you'll check that out. Join the page of Inspired Living Radio, or just go to marclainhart.com for your all your links, articles, pre-meditations, YouTube, all that good stuff, which I just call spiritual awesomeness. We do have an event coming up Saturday, again, with my colleague over in England, Penny Hayward, which will be a mediumship demonstration. If you're interested, tickets are still on sale. And then there's also a 2-day workshop coming up in March for medleys of mediumship. So if you want to learn, the aspects of mediumship. So in my class that's going on right now, Experience Etheric, we're having a lot of fun. That's closed now, but it will be open again later this year. So I want to give you your card for the week, and it says, I allow myself to dream. So the owl of wisdom, the dream catcher, allow yourself to dream and let your dreams become your reality, because things are born twice, first in our mind, and then what we do in our reality as far as actions. So I want to leave you with this. It's a perspective. It's actually, this was sent to me. I get a lot of gifts. So this is Be More Yoda. Hopefully I don't get banned on Facebook for showing that. But it says this: put yourself in another shoe. And this is about the message of teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. Look beyond your own concerns to see things from someone else's perspective. A little empathy goes a long way, especially if you've made a strong journey from stormtrooper to resistance hero. But don't think you know it all. Take a hard look at how stable kids survive on a glittering casino planet can help you see that life there is not all fun and games. You'll soon realize that you are not the center of the galaxy. So it's a fun passage from the book. It's actually from Rose when she said, look closer, from, if you've watched the Last Jedi and Rise of the Skywalker Star Wars movie, she was in that. It's a fun little book. And it's just a reminder, the art is to have common ground, have perspective, but ask somebody, are you willing to see a different perspective? Because if they're not, then you're wasting your time, you guys. It's really hard to have teamwork with people that aren't willing to see a different perspective or are very cynical in life. So you have to decide what's right for you. So we're going to get ready for the Healing Cafe. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I was going to just finish up with one other thing, but I can't think. It's Monday. I need more coffee. So have a great rest of your week. I'll see you here in just a few minutes for the Healing Cafe. Hopefully my team is going to join me and we'll have a lot of fun with some messages, Q&A, spiritual chats. And I'm going to be talking about some crystals for, if you have a request, I'm going to be giving you some crystals to use for your journey, whether it's health, if you're having some issues, for, I don't know, maybe you're just, trying to find some positivity, or, you're having just a rough go with this pandemic. So we'll be talking about that as well. So let me put a card in that. All right. So until our next soul adventure together, please be kind, be caring, be compassionate, use teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. And until our next soul adventure together, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and of course, find that diamond within. And I'll see you guys next week for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays.